There's something strange in the neighborhood, listener. It's definitely me. This week on the Jock and Nerd Podcast, we review Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Geek Boner.
Plus, we're breaking down the new Spider-Man No Way Home trailer and more, all in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, November 22nd, 2021.
This is Jason Hawes, and you're listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. I've seen a lot of things in my life, but nothing freaks me out like antique porcelain dolls. No, even worse, puppets. Puppets come into life. But that's impossible, right? Right, guys?
My spider shits are tingling. Check. Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up. Jock it, we nerd it. We funny, disturb it. We jock it, we nerd it. We spoiler alert. Oh yeah!
That's right. What's up? How you doing, listener? Welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose.
Jock and Nerd.
My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
And he's the nerd.
And joining us is the gatekeeper to my keymaster. It's Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs?
There is no Rug Boy. There is only Zool.
Are you a god?
You know, Ray, when somebody asks you if you're a god, you say yes.
Yes!
Sorry, we're jumping ahead. I can do the whole movie. Oh, what a great movie that first one is. Anyways, yeah. Rugs, I figured, you have the slack hole. You're the gatekeeper. That's like the gate.
Sure.
You got to insert
Everybody can come through it.
Yeah, everybody comes through.
Gate's open, guys.
Wide open.
Come on in. The felt is very soft and warm. And not sticky at all.
We have one very important thing to talk about, and we're going to talk about it right now.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
And we are going to take our time and talk about it. Here's the thing, though. We are the last podcast on the planet Earth to get to record our thoughts on the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, I would think. It came out a fucking week ago, the day before the last show posted. We warned you, Sony fucked our schedule.
Yeah, they always do that.
Fuck you, Sony.
You'd think they'd consult.
They sit there in a meeting and they're like, listen, we can release this trailer at this point in time, but if we do it this day, the Jock and Nerd Podcast will miss out.
Who releases a trailer on Tuesday?
Oh,
the
shit.
fuck are you doing, Sony?
The fuck?
Anyways, look, there's 21 million views on this one version of the trailer on YouTube from Marvel Entertainment. So everybody's watched this fucking trailer. Let's just get into it. There's a lot going on in this. Anthony, initial reaction of what they gave us and what they didn't give us in this trailer.
I would have been surprised if they gave us Andrew Garfield and what's his face?
Tobey Maguire. I'm glad they didn't.
I'm also glad they didn't. Hopefully they're in the movie, but I'm glad they didn't give it to us. I know that there was a lot of internal battles between Sony and Marvel.
Whether to reveal it.
Yeah, Sony, I think, wanted to reveal it. Marvel didn't, so looks like Marvel won out. As far as what I thought of the trailer, when I initially watched it, I was at the gym, and I kept refreshing my YouTube and just Twitter just to see if it popped up, and it did. And I watched it at the gym, and I was very entertained.
With all the bros? What did the bros think?
I was by myself.
Oh, you're by yourself. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't have played it if the bros were
No,
there.
all the bros gather around, watch Spider-Man trailer.
No,
sounds like a great moment. No,
I don't think I would have played it, but
I like hearing Anthony's closeted life as a nerd.
Yes, he's like in the corner of the gym behind the fucking bench. What are you watching me? I'm watching this trailer. Don't look at me.
What are you watching?
Nothing. Sports ball.
Sports, duh.
I'm checking stocks.
Yeah.
It's porn. It's definitely porn.
None of your business, bro. Go lift.
Go lift.
Run. Anyways, I did really enjoy it. When I watched it, I was like, damn, that looks great. I'm excited for this. I think a lot of the excitement is just because, first off, in three movies now? Black Widow, Eternals, Shang-Chi, and then even like some of the TV shows. Like those are all characters I somewhat know, some a little more than others, some less. But even to this day, I mean, even though he's not my favorite character, Spider-Man is an iconic character.
Absolutely, yeah.
So like to see a trailer where they're kind of doing the nostalgia thing, and they're bringing back old villains from the movies that I liked, especially the Raimi films. it being just an icon, like I mentioned, it's a character that I actually know and can get excited about seeing rather than like learning about somebody. So in that sense, it looked good. I was happy to see some of those characters pop up, some of the villains that you see in that trailer. There's a lot of intriguing plot points. I will admit that this movie is potentially a gigantic mess, and we can get into some of that stuff later.
Yeah, it might be.
But for now, I'm going to stay optimistic, be excited about it. The one thing I wanted to point out is, although it's extremely clunky how they're getting to this multiverse, at least through the trailers, where it's basically Doctor Strange made a gigantic fuck up listening to a teenager.
Yeah, well, Peter, he's blaming Peter.
Well, it's like that's how we got to the multiverse. We had him listen to a kid, and he fucked up a spell. What? Like there should be a better way to get to a multiverse. That being said, I do like the concept of when they bring up how it sounds like all these villains show up, and Doctor Strange is like, we have to get them back to their universes, otherwise it's going to fuck shit up.
Right.
And they learn that if they send them back to their universes, their fate is to die by Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Which is what happens in some of these films. Not with all the villains, but a lot of these villains die because of the hands of Spider-Man. And I like the angle where Spidey in this universe is like, well, fuck that. I'm going to save them. I like that. I like that. Like kind of turning it on its head a little bit, because especially in the MCU, there's a lot of, for some reason, like all these superheroes kill. So like Spider-Man is one of the characters that doesn't kill, right? Like I think he's one of his lines in the book, in the comics, is like, nobody dies. And I like the angle of them having Spider-Man being put in a position to now potentially save the villains that want to kill him. There's my long-winded answer of saying I'm excited. I definitely think there's potential for a mess, but I'm still excited.
There's a lot going on, and I do like that angle where Peter will do the right thing, even if it means, he's going to get hurt. If he that's the part.
Well, it might not even be the right thing. Like he might ruin the universe by doing that. But he's just like, I can't in good faith know that they're going to die and my hands in another universe and not try to help them out.
Well, like Captain America's moral compass, he will do the right thing.
Well, Captain America will kill.
Yes, I guess he will if he has to.
He's a soldier. He's got to.
He's a soldier.
To do that.
Peter will never. Peter will never.
Yeah, Peter's trauma. Not this Peter, but in the comics, he's traumatized with the fact that his uncle died, so that's why he doesn't kill.
Also, great point that the hype is legit built by this is the first return to a character everybody knows. I didn't even think about that. We've had so many new things,
right,
kind of thrown at us.
It's one of the only things.
Yeah,
the flagship movie.
Yeah, Ruggs, what'd you think of this trailer? Did it get you geek boner?
Geek boner.
Or floppy?
Floppy jock. Well, this is what we asked for, isn't it?
It kind of is. Give me all of this. Yes.
We asked for this. Yeah.
I am so kind of over MCU Spider-Man at this point that give me something that's gonna
something crazy.
At least be crazy, because I am so over this MCU Spider-Man, what they've set up, how they create this character, all this stuff. I'm like, okay, let's shake things up. Let's fucking throw a monkey wrench in this bullshit. Hopefully this will help reestablish Spider-Man into a more well-rounded character like he is in the comics. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if I like this whole idea of this whole thing being predicated on Spider-Man's stupid, I don't want to have any responsibility for what I've done. Can you make everything go away, Doctor Strange? And then that's how he brings forth everything. But it could be also meta that Peter Parker usually does cause damage in his own life by choices that he makes. So it fits the character in a way. So I'm all for this, I guess. I mean, I don't like MCU Spider-Man. So, and I didn't like what they did with Amazing Spider-Man, but I think somewhere in there we can probably get closer to an actual Spider-Man story that has stakes, that has elements of the past, great villains that we do like Doc Ock and the Green Goblin. And of course, the power of the MCU's marketing machine behind this. So I don't know. I mean, I see a lot of armored fucking Spider-Man in this. I see a lot of a black armored Spider-Man with magic powers. And
he's got magic gauntlets. probably from
I
Strange.
see a lot of that stuff, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But
They got to sell toys.
yeah, they got to sell toys. But I know that there's probably more batshit stuff to come. There's stuff in other trailers that show that the lizard getting punched, and that's possibly like, yes, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire
They're
are going
definitely
to
in
be
this
in it.
movie. They're definitely in the movie.
Venom's probably going to be in it.
I think so.
I am ready. My body is ready for this. and then, am I excited about it? I don't know if I'm excited about it, but I'm just like, look, let's finish this. It's like I want to graduate to the next era of Spider-Man. So let's go. Let's bring it. Let's see what happens. Let's fucking make some batshit crazy things. It's time. It looks like it's going to be a fucking hot mess, though. It really does. But yeah, might be fun.
It's going to get us to a point where he can be maybe an adult Spider-Man. Okay, lots to unpack. Let's start with Doctor Strange. I originally thought he was...
what did you think of it? You're the Spider-Man guy.
Do you even have to ask him?
There's a lot of oh shit moments. I was going, oh shit. They didn't give us Toby and Andrew, and I kind of like that, but there's stuff removed from the trailer. I like getting confirmation of the villains, but it did kind of also seem like a mess. I'll say it gave me geek boner, but I'm also a little bit hesitant and made my spidey sense tingle. Not in the best way, in an uncomfortable way, maybe.
See, like, I don't really feel like it's going to damage anything because it's already, the damage has been done.
Yeah.
So, I mean, other than make a movie that people are going to probably give Rotten Tomatoes to, if it's bad.
This movie's going to make all the money regardless. Do you think, remember how we thought Doctor Strange was not Doctor Strange, who's acting weird, and he's being a dick in this one, and he's got the Scooby-Doo line, and now I kind of think that it's just Doctor Strange being annoyed by Peter and being a dick to the kids, and he doesn't want to have to do this.
I did read that I think Benedict Cumberbatch said his relationship with Peter in this movie is different than like Tony's, where they love each other, basically. And like throughout the movie, he's just going to be more and more annoyed with Peter. I
mean, it looks like they're fighting each other at one point. Is that just because they're at? Obviously, he steals the box. Like you said, the conflict's going to be the Strange wants to send him back, and Peter wants to save them, and he kind of steals the box and tries to fuck things up.
Yeah.
Okay, so Doctor Strange, Doctor Strange. Let's get to Dr. Octopus. Alfred Molina looks great. The de-aging is pretty good. I think he looks good.
Yeah, it looks fine.
He does say you're not Peter Parker, so he recognizes this MCU Peter Parker is not his Peter Parker. And then you see red and gold colors on his arms, as if it's like, is it Stark Tech in his Iron Man colors, or is he pulling this off of Peter's Stark suit that he's wearing?
That's what I'm leaning towards. Is when he chases Peter and has him tied up, the nanotech starts to
leech off of him,
leech onto his tentacles.
Yeah, but there's another evidence of Stark Tech a little bit in another character, and so
let me just say something real quick on Doc Ock.
Yes.
It's somewhat confusing where he gets pulled from. Maybe he gets pulled in a different spot, because the end of Spider-Man 2, he basically says, I'm not going to be a monster, or something along those lines.
Right, he kind of has a redemption.
Monster. So, like, for him to just start attacking Peter would not make much sense if he's pulled from that part of the story, but potentially he's pulled from a different part of that story.
Well, I heard that he was told he's being pulled from right when he's going in the water before he dies, after he's made the choice to sacrifice himself. However, I do think at one point Doc Ock joins Peter, and they're on the same side. Like. Because if you look at that shot where you see Electro and Lizard and the other one, who's the other one? Sandman. There's no Doc Ock there. And there's another shot where Electro's like shooting at Doc Ock, and he's falling off a building.
On that scaffolding, it looks like
because it looks like
each other.
They trap him and they laugh at his name, that was kind of funny joke. But so I think they join forces possibly because
it would make sense. Because his character he
was never really a bad guy. He was just misunderstood, conflicted.
Well, he was a bad. I mean, the tentacles made him a little crazy, but then he came to and he realized what was going on.
He's a scientist.
Well, it's an allegory for your dick. Your tentacles, your testicles, they always make you do bad things.
This is absolutely true.
Then we see, we do see Green Goblin.
You see Green Goblin.
Couple
You hear him
times.
narrate a little bit.
You hear his
Apparently,
voice.
I went kind of off the deep end. He's kind of like orchestrating everything.
Oh, Norman Osborn would be in charge.
Yeah.
And there's another shot of a goblin real quick that doesn't have his helmet on, and everyone is speculating is it Dave DeHaan, is it James DeFranco? That's also Willem Dafoe, I believe, just without his helmet.
Yeah, I think his goblin outfit's going to evolve.
Yeah, it's going to change. In that one, you kind of see somebody brightened up, and you see it's more like purple and green like in the comics. So I think that's what they're trying to do. So, and I think the goblin suit also looks a little more streamlined, a little tweaked.
Yeah.
It looks better.
Looks less kitty. Maybe they put like some black around the eyes.
Again,
make the eyes.
I can't believe we're getting that fucking suit again. Also, where's Goblin in that shot of the three villains attacking? That's also curious.
I mean, that shot you can't even trust because there's plenty of footage out there, even without the footage of the trailer.
You're like,
from
something's
Brazil.
weird. Yes.
Marvel does this all the time.
Lizards,
Remember
yeah.
about the Hulk running at the in Infinity War?
In Civil War, they took out Spider-Man in the big airport battle scene in the trailer. He was right there.
That's right.
So you see, before we get to that, and we'll talk about how the clues there. Electro, I kind of love what they did with Electro. He's all yellow. He's got like a harness, and they're using electricity to mimic the mask from the comics. Oh,
Geek boner.
great idea. I thought that looked great. Jamie Foxx looks very CGI. It's wonderful.
He does, and
He's all rubbery.
Shot.
Yeah, so, in the meantime, they released 6 TV spots recently, Marvel. There's all these TV spots, and it's essentially the same footage recut, shuffled around. There's a couple of new close-ups, a couple of new things in some of them. One of them has a close-up of Electro's harness and his suit, and he definitely has a fucking Stark reactor is powering this Electro suit that he's wearing. How did he get it? I don't know.
Oh, so he doesn't really have electro powers? He's powered by a reactor.
It looks like an arc reactor connected to a thing that's giving him the powers.
Or maybe he's able to harness it better because in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, it like took over his whole body.
Yeah, it was in him.
Yeah.
This one looks like he can kind of control it around him. It looks fucking cool.
Perhaps, or maybe Osborn figures out how
Norman
to
Osborn
harness
could have
it.
found all the Stark tech too and gave everybody fucking upgrades when they came over. We don't know. It's going to be crazy. And then you see giant Sandman's head, and I believe it looks just like Thomas Hayden Church's Sam Raimi Sandman.
Also a little confusing because the end of Spider-Man 3...
He just kind of disappeared into the wind.
Well, he disappears, and he was kind of like redeemed.
Yeah, he's
right?
also a conflicted, not a bad, straight bad guy.
He shot the Uncle Ben in
That
Panic.
is so dumb. I hate when they do that. It's just like in Batman 89. The Joker did not kill Bruce Wayne's parents, you idiots. What are you doing?
Yeah.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
It's just wrong.
Spider-Man 3 is not that good.
No.
I needed the money.
Yeah. That was disappointing. And then the Lizard, confirmation, the Lizard from Mark Webb's Amazing Spider-Man. Now, there's in one of the TV spots, there's a funny line. You see J. Jonah Jameson, J.K. Simmons. He's like, what is that, a dinosaur? That's all he says. So the Lizard looks all right. Now, have you seen the clip from the Brazil trailer?
Yep. Ruggs brought that up.
Yes, that scene and the scene before where Spider-Man lands, they definitely took out, I believe, either 2 other Spider-Man or maybe it's Venom and Doc Ock, but you see the Lizard get punched by something invisible. I don't know why they would leave that in by accident.
That was weird. Even without seeing that Brazilian trailer, though.
It's obvious.
It's obvious because when you see it, Spidey is jumping at the 3 of them, but he's only jumping at the middle, and the other 2 are clearly like not even looking at him.
They're
jumping,
going at something else.
Something else, yeah.
So that's 5 of the Sinister 6. Who do you think is number 6? Is it going to be Venom? Is it going to be Scorpion, the Vulture?
I don't think they're going to intro any new characters.
So it's somebody is existing.
I don't know if it's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if Venom is in the movie.
Yeah.
But I don't think Venom fits.
I don't think they should waste Venom. I think that's a bigger movie.
Yeah, that's a good point. I would, if I had to guess, I would go Vulture.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
What if it's Aaron Taylor Johnson, Kraven the Hunter?
Oh, shit.
Out of nowhere.
No, they're not going to introduce a new villain, and they're not going to waste Venom. They're going to use somebody old. It could be the Rhino. It could be the Vulture.
Yeah, but Venom, the last we saw him in that post-credit scene, he is in the MCU. You got to tie that up. I would think that's setting up right into this movie. Sort of, maybe.
No, they got they need to lead into, unless they're going all out and they're going to like blow this, thing wide open and like actually finish it. Because is Tom Holland coming back for another Spider-Man?
Well, we'll talk about Tom Holland and the stuff he said in this GQ article. A couple other...
I think he's coming back.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
Yeah.
I think the Marvel-Sony deal has him in more stuff, too. So go ahead.
A couple other like cameos or full movies, you think?
I think he's supposed to be in other Marvel movies. And I think the plan is, as you mentioned, I think to continue his story throughout college. And
get him adultified.
Yeah.
A couple other interesting, weird details you notice. The Statue of Liberty is being fitted with a giant Captain America shield in tribute to Cap, which everybody thinks Cap's dead then, I guess, right? They all think he's dead?
He gone. That's what they think.
I love that idea. I think that's great. And like you see it crashing down while it's being built. And the statue.
What about Anthony Mack? Isn't he Captain America?
Well, he's Falcon America, yeah. Did that happen in this timeline? When does this fucking movie take place? It looks like it takes place right after Far From Home. Right. MJ is wearing the same clothes from that post-credit scene. Oh, what did you think about that? They're kind of recreating the Gwen Stacy death fall scene with
Zendaya. Do that in every... They did that in Kirsten Dunst did that in the first movie,
Yeah, they do that in every franchise. But a lot of people speculating... Oh, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is going to swing in and save her because he's not going to have this shit happen to him twice. He's going to come in last minute. Something, I thought. But you also see Ned Leeds is falling in that quick shot. Also, I think somebody dies at the end of this movie.
I've heard rumors that someone... I actually kind of but I've heard the rumor that one of the characters is going to die.
Aunt May.
I've heard that rumor.
Why are you reading spoilers? It could be May, it could be Happy.
Sure.
It could be a side character. It could be a main character.
Yeah, the only thing is, like, if they kill Aunt May...
Yeah, she's too young.
She really hasn't done anything.
No, she didn't get a chance.
There's not a ton of an emotional connection to Aunt May right now.
Yeah, do you kill Happy? He's kind of useless, too.
You gotta kill somebody like his friend or something.
Ned leads, and then he becomes the Hobgoblin and comes back to life or something. They could do that.
I don't know. This is supposed to be the end game of Spider-Man.
Yeah, this is supposed to be the end of this story. I think we will get another trailer.
No, I think we're done.
No, well, here's the speculation. Tickets go on sale November 29th, and people are saying they're going to put out another trailer, and in this one, they might actually tease that the Toby and Andrew are in the movie.
They should not do that.
They shouldn't do that, but they do need something big on the 29th when tickets go on sale.
No, they don't need anything.
Everybody's buying tickets to this.
They're going to buy it anyways. I would love it if they didn't actually reveal it in the trailer for once.
They don't need any. They're done. They don't need to do any more. I mean, other than like TV spots, they don't need any more.
But
trailers.
This is Sony. This is Sony running the marketing. How desperate are they to make it sure that it's known that this is the biggest fucking thing that's going to happen? I don't know. They may blow it.
Can I jump into real quick? Because you're going to go into this in the next spot anyways, but yeah. I want to just go over all the things I've heard that make this movie potentially a mess.
Okay, let's get into why, because I've heard a bunch of things too. Go, Anthony. What have you heard?
There's like a whole list. All right, so number one, this movie is rushed. This was supposed to actually come out, I believe,
after Doctor Strange. And
well, first off, yeah, it was supposed to be after Doctor Strange. Yeah. So they had to rewrite it to now make it make sense that it's coming out before, but it was supposed to come out, I believe, this summer.
Yeah.
But then COVID happened, so this summer? It was supposed to come out earlier. Because of COVID, it got delayed. While it got delayed, Marvel and Sony, remember, they broke up. And they only came back together, like, recently. So within 2 years, they were going to make a movie, broke up, came back together.
Right.
So they came back together. As mentioned, because of COVID, this movie is now before Doctor Strange, which means they were planning for this to be after, and that's why the multiverse thing would have made more sense. Right. Also, as Tom Holland mentions, the script was being rewritten.
Yes,
as they were shooting the film.
That is never a good sign.
They also, I think the third act, they didn't know they were like acting out the lines, and Tom Holland was like, "Yeah, this isn't the way I would sound," and like him and John Watts had to like rewrite like parts of the third act, like his script. So you have that as well. So you throw all those things in there. You also have to factor in that John Watts originally, when the second one ended, this was always going to be, I think, a trilogy at least with John Watts. Remember when the second one ended, John Watts wanted to do Kraven's Last Hunt for the third movie.
Oh.
And because of how well Venom did and how Sony wants to bring in, their own little universe and really have it connected to the Marvel and the MCU, I think they went in the direction of this kind of fan servicey type film where they're bringing back all the old characters. So when you factor all those in, this movie potentially could be a gigantic mess.
You know, and we've seen this fan servicey thing where we're bringing in all the old characters a few times now already. We're going to talk about a movie that does it again. So it's kind of getting worn and reused. And yeah, no, I feel like I'm really concerned there is a possibility.
I'm praying for a disaster.
That it's going to be a third act disaster. But this article from comicbookmovie.com also mentions Iron Man, 2008's Iron Man also had kind of the same thing. They were writing it as they went, and that worked out really good. So you can get good results.
There's definitely movies where they write it as they go, and it's fine. There's movies where they make scenes that like the actors like this isn't how it sounds. So like there's always exceptions to the rule, but you just never, when you throw all of those things together, it's concerning.
And there's so much going on in this movie. You know, I definitely think a lot of things are going to get underdeveloped and just kind of like get sidelined, and you're just going to be like, wait, what happened?
Well, the only good thing that this movie has going for it is that Kathleen Kennedy is not involved.
Oh, shit.
That's absolutely true.
Oh, shit.
So this GQ article, he mentions all that stuff, and it's a lengthy article, but he also mentions, he has a line where he goes, if I'm playing Spider-Man when I'm 30, I've done something wrong. He's 25 now. So whether he's going to leave this role, is he done with this role? Are they phasing him out? That's in the question, like we're all thinking. But I found this other article that Avengers Endgame director Joe Russo has said Tom is stepping into the role that Robert Downey once occupied for Marvel. This is also in an interview to GQ. He says, which is the favorite character in a lot of ways, the soul of the Marvel Universe. Joe Russo thinks that the Tom Holland Spider-Man is going to be the next Tony Stark Iron Man soul of the MCU, meaning he's not going anywhere and he's going to have to grow up.
We will see.
He's going to be in it as long. They're going to give him as much money as they possibly can to keep him as long as possible.
Oh yeah, they'll definitely throw a bunch of cash. Be like, you know what?
Whether it's Sony, whether it's Marvel, whether it's both of them, they don't ever want him to like be let go. And to his advantage, you know, he still looks young, so he can play Spider-Man as a younger guy, as in a younger age.
Absolutely,
for a while.
Absolutely. But I want him to be adult Spider-Man. Man, I can't wait. We're less than a month away to this crazy movie.
I'm still hyped. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I watched Sean Chandler talk about reasons why this movie could suck, and I was like, oh yeah,
it could definitely you could see it. It could definitely be a mess when you're trying to tackle all this and try to close him out and set something up and actually beholden to multiverse rifts. I mean, I liked how the purple rifts also remind me of like the end of Loki, so it kind of makes sense. Maybe when they made that spell, which of these events are overlapping? When Wanda is reading the book, when He Who Remains dies, when Strange makes the spell, these could be all happening close to each other, and the whole thing just fucking goes foobar. I do think this movie will make all the money. Box Office Pro already have early projections, domestic box office projections. They are estimating 135 million to 185 million North American debut, with an eventual 375 to 525 million total domestic. They think it's going to open at over like $135 million. I think this movie could make $1 billion. It is going to open in China. They know this is the biggest December event since 2019's Rise of Skywalker, Star Wars. That was huge for that movie.
Is it weird that I'm yawning?
Was that you? You fuck.
Yeah. I can't stop yawning. I don't know if I'm bored or I'm tired.
Well, okay, let's just fucking speed through this so we get through the movie. In the meantime, last week, Michael
This
Keaton...
is like that other episode where it was like where Lisa Morrison pointed out if Rug Boy could show any more ambivalence to
It's like,
anything.
it's weird because we're talking about my favorite character. I really don't give a shit. And we're just talking about it ad nauseum. I'm like completely bored by this to the point where I'm yawning.
Well, I bet you guys talked about it on Thursday.
Well, see, that's the thing. We did discuss it on the Facebook group. We talked about it in the Discord. We played it in like quarter speed, frame by frame, and analyzed the whole thing.
Oh, nice.
We did do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you might just be fatigued.
We're
from
just
talking
fatigued.
about
We
it.
just didn't talk about it on the show. But there's a
And
lot.
You didn't talk about it with me.
And we didn't. Yeah, I didn't know what Anthony thought. All right. Well, we're done with the Spider-Man talk.
I'm hyped.
I'm hyped. The Geek Boner. Definitely
He's
there.
tired.
It's going to be fucking awesome.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good.
It's going to be really good. He's tired. Listener, if you need a t-shirt from this podcast, visit our TeePublic shop, jockandnerd.com/shop. There's sales. There's a lot of fun things with the logo. Go get it. 2 pieces of casting news, and then we'll close the news here. Delroy Lindo has been added to the Mahershala Ali Blade movie.
Oh, shit.
He's gonna be Whistler, maybe.
That would be awesome. Delroy Lindo's the best. Anthony, comment?
I love this casting. I love that he's being added to this movie. I have no idea what he's going to do or be, but Mahershala Ali, Delroy Lindo, and Blade, that already sounds amazing.
Did you guys watch The Harder They Fall? It's on Netflix.
Yeah, he's in The Harder They Fall, which has an amazing cast.
I heard it was good. I'm going to check it out.
Lakeith Stanfield's in there. I think Jonathan Majors, Zazie Beetz. Delroy Lindo is great in The Five Bloods. He's been in a bunch of Spike Lee movies. I kind of wish Spike Lee was directing this Blade movie. That would be amazing.
Really?
I don't know.
No, you don't want Spike
Maybe
Lee
younger,
doing a Blade.
like back in the day, Spike Lee before.
Maybe.
You know, like Do the Right Thing, Spike Lee would be exciting. No, he's different. Who's directing this?
That'd be such a weird thing.
This is
that'd be one of the weirdest things,
right?
ever.
That Spike Lee
That'd be like
directed
Chloe Zhao doing a Marvel movie. What?
No, there's a Pakistani guy directing this. Isn't that this is the one?
Is there?
I gotta look it
don't
up.
know. You should know that. You should definitely know if there's a Pakistani. You know about all the play.
Bassam Tariq is directing the Blade movie, and I think he is Pakistani. Yay!
Automatically Imran's favorite movie of whenever that comes out.
Anyways, Delroy Lindo, Blade, Mahershala Ali is going to be great. And then the other one, Ruggs, they've cast Sabine Wren for the Ahsoka show. Natasha Liu Bordizzo. I don't know who this is, but
I like it.
We're getting a Sabine Wren. Tell us, who is Sabine Wren again? I forgot.
She's the lead. Well, she's the I guess the scion of the Mandalorian crown, right? She's the the next person in line for to be running Mandalore after Bo-Katan, right?
Bo-Katan, so but you got to have the dark saber.
Right. So Bo-Katan's the current ruler of the Mandalorians or leader of the Mandalorians, and she's like the younger sister or something like that.
She was big in the Rebels show. And Hayden Christensen also is going to be in Ahsoka.
Yeah, she was in Rebels. She kind of like does a lot of graffiti and art and shit, and she like has her suits very vibrant and colorful because she like customizes everything. And she's pretty competent. She can shoot, she can fight. She even held the Darksaber for a while before Bo-Katan got it. So she's actually should be leading the Mandalorians, but she wanted to stay with her group, the Rebels.
She was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Sword of Destiny, and The Society, this actress. Also, they still have to cast Ezra Bridger. There was that rumor Mina Massoud played Aladdin, was going to play Ezra Bridger, and Grand Admiral
That'd be good casting.
Sure. Right? Grand Admiral
Why don't they get the guy that did his voice?
Taylor Gray. Yeah, I said just get Taylor Gray. He's doing the voice. Again,
I don't know what Ezra Bridger is supposed to look like, but
so Sabine was voiced by somebody else in the show, so they don't. They
got the girl that voiced Bo-Katan, right?
Bo-Katan, what was her name?
Katie Sackhoff.
Katie Sackhoff actually voiced the character and played a live action. That's so rare. I don't know if we're going to see that again.
It's one of those things where, well, if you hire a voice actor, the voice actors don't really look like the people that they
don't.
But if you're hiring a specific well-known actor, usually they make the model look like the actor just out of hoping that they would actually
doing it the other way.
Yeah, it's kind of like almost backdoor casting.
Yeah.
Ow.
That is interesting. I have to pay attention to that. All right.
Sure, just go ow.
Are you all right? Was it your knee?
No. Say hi to your knee.
Say hi.
No, it was I just bonked my head into the microphone.
Great. All right. Well,
how high is that mic? Well, never mind.
We'll let Ruggs recover from his concussion. I'm going to take a break here.
I'm fine.
Play some promos and come back and talk about some ghosts and some busting right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Was A Quiet Place inspired by Signs, It Comes at Night, and War for the Planet of the Apes? Was Ready Player One influenced by Avatar, Wreck-It Ralph, and The Last Starfighter? Is the Hurricane Heist more influenced by Sharknado or Geostorm? These are the kinds of questions my guest co-hosts and I discuss on my podcast, Piecing It Together. Every week, we look at a new movie and try to figure out what other movies inspired it. Whether it's the story, the character development, tone, or even use of music. Every movie was influenced by something that came before it, and we want to figure out what. Check out Piecing It Together on your favorite podcast app or check us out on piecingpod.com. You can also follow us on social media at piecingpod. Piecing It Together is a part of the All Points West podcast network.
Hey, this is Matt.
And Jesse.
We host American Slacker Podcast, your weekly rundown for weird news, entertainment suggestions, and unique games.
Every other week, we bring on guests from all walks of life, like comedian Mark Forward of Letterkenny.
Yeah, we just call it tuna up here. We're pretty clear that it's a fish.
And NYC stand-up powerhouse Ian Fidance.
I want to fucking punch you in the fucking face with positivity and fun, motherfucker.
Actor Brandon Crane of Stephen King's It.
Because a lot of the work that I did, like Wonder Years to It, they were all very, period 50s, 60s, and, Chuck's were all the rage.
And Art the Clown from Terrifier, David Howard Thornton.
They also had to make a mold of my face while I was there, so that was kind of claustrophobic in itself.
Musician Dan Simons of Just Surrender.
First time ever going out on a tour, you remember every step.
And Nick Thompson of Hit the Lights.
All the stuff that I think that people go through life, and it's just like my outlet for that.
Watch the video version of American Slacker on our YouTube channel and listen to our show on your favorite podcast app.
New episodes every Wednesday. Visit our website, aspodcast.com, for everything American Slacker.
That's it.
There you go.
Jock and Nerd.
Listener, if you enjoy the show, show your love, join our fan club. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon.
Jock and Nerd.
You can support the show on a monthly or annual basis. You get cool stuff like a bonus RSS feed that has bonus content, extra audio. The show comes out early. We all posted our instant reactions to the movie we're about to review. You would have heard that before the review. You also get Discord benefits where we hang out. We're doing a monthly Discord hangout just with our patrons. We just had one last week. It was lots of fun. Let me just say shout out to our regulars, Jose Ibarra, Daryl K. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Anthony Dope Pope came by to hang out. That was great.
Oh.
You know Dope.
I know Dope.
Yeah, he was just before there. Him and Bilotti and Lenny were doing the Anime New York City big convention. He came to hang out, and we had a surprise guest, Wes Cranford's son, Ethan Cranford from Australia.
Oh, shit.
Son of Cranford.
Son of Cranford stopped. He had a little bit of time between his two jobs. We did it at 8 p.m. Thursday. It was 2 p.m. the next day where he was.
Right.
And he was between his two, he's an audio engineer, smart kid, great kid. I loved meeting Ethan. That was so much fun.
Yeah, that's probably one of the coolest kids that listen to us.
How old is he?
I didn't ask, but Ethan let us know. I think he's in his early 20s, he looks like.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
He came on video and everything. And yeah, Wes and Ethan would listen to the show together. He told us. Wes corrupted
he told us
his
that
son.
he gets drunk with his dad sometimes.
He's great.
Wow.
Yeah, what a great family.
So, yeah, Wes is a good dad. Yeah, that's the kind of dad that I want. Where's my dad?
Yeah, thanks.
Where are you, Dad?
Thanks, Ethan.
Where are you, Dad?
We asked him all these questions about Australia. I could have just talked to him about Australia for hours. It was fascinating. Anyways, fun stuff like that if you join our Patreon fan club. The next one, Anthony, put this in your calendar. I've decided this is tentatively. The date is going to be Thursday, December 23rd.
Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve. Here's why. Because the Thursday the week before, which is technically 4 weeks from when you did it, that's when fucking Spider-Man No Way Home comes out.
Oh, shit.
And at least if we do it the next Thursday, we'll have something to talk about.
What time are the Discords?
The Discord is always at
9 o'clock.
8 p.m. Central.
8 o'clock your time.
Yes,
got it.
9 o'clock Eastern, Thursday, December 23rd. A rumor has it both Morrisons may be there, so Morrisons, let us know.
Ooh, both Morrisons.
If you're good on that date, because it'll be after.
Oh, I got it. This will be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be after the Spider-Man movie, before the holidays. We'll do a little holiday Discord hangout. Sign up, jockandnerd.com/Patreon.
Christmas with the Morrisons, people. Let's do it.
You can't do better than that. Okay, let's get to the review. This week, we are reviewing Ghostbusters Afterlife. Here is your spoiler alert.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
Let me tell you something. Bustin' makes me feel good. I just want to get that out of the way.
It sure does.
And you just take that, do with that what you will. I hear how that sounds, just listening back. This movie, Ghostbusters franchise, obviously started 1984 with the original Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters 2 comes out 1989. In 2016, they do like a soft reboot with an all-female cast called Ghostbusters. But Ghostbusters Afterlife, this is the true sequel to the first two movies. Essentially Ghostbusters 3, I guess. On Rotten Tomatoes, you guys, it is sitting at a 62% tomato meter.
Woo.
Average rating being 6.1 out of 10. Audience rating 95%. Audience are loving it. This movie was made for $75 million and it opens to a respectable like $41 million opening weekend. Not bad at all. Worldwide, it is sitting at $60 million. The movie, directed by Jason Reitman, who is the son of Ivan Reitman, who directed the original movie. It is also written by Gil Keenan and Jason Reitman. The movie stars Carrie Coon as the mom, Callie, Paul Rudd as Gruberson, a teacher at the high school, Finn Wolfhard as the older teenage son, Trevor, McKenna Grace as the young sister, Phoebe, Logan Kim as my favorite character, just called Podcast. And then you have Celeste O'Connor as the teen romance interest named Lucky. And, of course, the OG cast, starting with Annie Potts coming back as Janine, and quick cameos by Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, and some others. We'll get into some of the other fun cameos. Bokeem Woodbine also starring the Shocker as a sheriff. I was happy to see Bokeem Woodbine.
Isn't that Dave Chappelle?
No, you fucking racist motherfucker.
Oh,
I knew. I was thinking a lot of people in my audience. I bet I was like, a lot of people right now are like, wait, is that Dave Chappelle? He looks a lot like Dave Chappelle.
Like he looks like Dave Chappelle if Dave Chappelle put on some weight.
Yes, he looks like a more bigger, little fatter Dave. I'll agree. He does look a lot like Dave Chappelle. But
You do a double take.
Yes, I knew people in the audience were like, is that Dave Chappelle? I know you think. I'm like, no, it's fucking Shocker. I know him as Shocker. Anyways, Anthony, start it off. Tell us your history with the Ghostbusters franchise and then the plot of this movie and what you thought.
So, yeah, I mentioned this on the instant reaction. So if you are a subscriber, you've already heard this. If you're not a subscriber, you should give us enough money so that you can hear my instant reactions.
That's right.
Nice little plug there.
Thank you.
I loved Ghostbusters growing up. This was a big part of my childhood. I was super into... I believe there was a game. I'm not sure if there was a game, but I was definitely watching the cartoon, and I was a big fan of like Slimer. And this was one of the first movies that I watched from my childhood that I could actually watch throughout and not have to be scared and close my eyes, unlike RoboCop or Alien or Terminator. So big part of my childhood. I wanted to grow up and become a Ghostbuster. I remember like hanging out with my uncle and pretending there were ghosts around and just walking around with a backpack. It was either be a Ghostbuster or become a scientist and create Godzilla. So those were two of the fonder memories of like wanting to grow up and become some sort of character that I'd seen on screen. So as far as this plot, this movie is set, I believe, 37 years after the first one. And in a not so subtle way, we know right off the bat that Egon's family is given a house in the middle of nowhere in Somerville, Oklahoma. And Egon from the first movie, he's passed away, and he leaves his estranged daughter, who had barely any relationship with him, this house. And his daughter is taking care of, she's a single mom, taking care of a teenage son and a very young girl. And the girl is kind of nerdy, similar to Egon. She's very, almost too smart. She's written to be very, very smart. And she doesn't really have like a place in society. So the teenage son and the mom move into Egon's house just for a little bit because they're broke as shit. And they move into this house and they realize that a lot of weird things are happening, and it seems like the house is somewhat haunted. There's a mystery as to why Egon was out at this house and why he was so estranged from everybody. And this kind of all unravels. in a Ghostbustery way, except without middle-aged adults. It's now the setting is more, but instead of being middle-aged adults in the big city, it's now teenage young kids in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma. So that is the
different vibe.
Yeah, it's just kind of taking the original and turning it on its head just slightly.
So Imran, how do you think this stacks up? Like your history with Ghostbusters, how do you think that this kind of jives with it?
Look, I also loved the fucking Ghostbusters. I mean, I was 8 years old when the fucking movie came out. I remember the song being so huge. The video had all these celebrity cameos, and everybody was singing it like it was on MTV or whatever all the time. And also myself, Anthony, I made my own Ghostbusters Halloween costume. I had a jumpsuit. I built a fucking proton pack out of cardboard and like wires and hose. I thought it looked great. It probably looked like shit. And I also watched the cartoon. So I love this franchise. And I think the movie does end up being charming. It's entertaining. It honors the original movie. Well, while I love the fan service, I also think there may have been too much fan service. It's essentially it's the Force Awakens. They Force Awakened Ghostbusters. Would you agree?
I do agree. And I also, as a fan of Ghostbusters, I am not as a big a fan as Anthony and Imran. I'll say that right out. I think the first movie's really fun and it's kind of lightning in the bottle. And it's hard to replicate that kind of movie. And I think that any other sequels to the movie have been failures. Even though the second one's fun in certain way, it is a repeat of the first movie.
You're never going to get that charm from the first movie.
So this movie had a tat. So I can't believe that Ghostbusters still around. Like, I can't believe that they made a cartoon out of it and kids buy the toys. Because let's think about this. This is a bunch of middle-aged balding men that are out of shape.
Yeah.
That there's not a lot of it's a lot of talking in this movie, like in the first one, right? It's not like action packed,
but it's weird. It's PG, but it's adult. It's quick witted banter. There's dick
but
jokes
I'm just saying,
in there.
Did you think this is going to turn into a franchise? It's not. I don't think it's meant to be a franchise.
No, you're right. It was basically lightning in the bottle. There's no reason why it should have worked.
I feel like that this whole concept has been franchised, kind of how they did everything. Like we're talking about RoboCop. Like, it was never meant to be for kids.
Right.
But they took it and they fucking made it into a product. All these fucking assholes that wanted to be greedy.
Made toys and cartoons out of RoboCop.
So I feel like that Ghostbusters has been exploited to be something that it never should have been, which should never have been a kid's thing.
I mean, it's kind of like a horror. It's got a horror vibe. It's got this crazy comedy action, that original one.
Well, the original one, since we're kind of on it, in my opinion, works really well because it is funny, right? Like there are funny things, but it's not like zany, like over the top. Like it's not like Spaceballs, right? Like it's not trying to be. It actually kind of plays it straight. Like these guys are 40 years old and they're actually just kind of hunting ghosts, and it's like a real thing. They just are. They throw it at you, and you just have to accept. Yep, there's ghosts, and all these older nerdy guys with Bill Murray being dry witty. They're just going to hunt these things to make money. Like this is all about these guys just trying to make some money. So like again, it shouldn't really work. But yeah, I agree. Like it probably they just didn't know what they had, and then they had it, and then they, as everything kind of, especially from that era, just got made into something even bigger than it really was supposed to be.
Yeah, I don't think they thought it was going to be that big of a hit. This movie now, 37 or whatever years later, everybody's kind of forgotten all that shit happened. The Ghostbusters commercials are on YouTube. I mean, I thought that was kind of cute that they could pull up the commercials and, she even calls the actual number that's in the commercial at one point. But I don't know what I loved all the Easter eggs and the nods to the original and getting to see Ecto-1 and the proton packs and the fucking ghost traps and all that shit and what they added to it. But it is almost like a beat by beat redoing of the first movie.
It's full of baggage. This is a film that, as much as it's trying to do it in a different way, which I really was actually happy about, that Ivan Reitman's son, what's his name?
Jason
Reitman.
Jason Reitman. He really tried to actually play this kind of serious.
Oh yeah, for sure. He treats it seriously.
Beautiful cinematography, great shots. It felt like an indie film in parts.
Almost like Chloe Zhao shot part of this fucking movie, I thought.
I thought in better ways. There was some really beautiful, in camera stuff going on. So I thought it was like done in such a higher level.
It's a different vibe. A lot. I mean, some of the reviewers have mentioned, and I kind of agree that Ivan Reitman is doing his Spielberg. It turns into like a Spielbergian family drama.
It's very Spielbergian.
Well, instead of this horror wacky comedy.
For what it's worth, Jason Reitman has done movies that have been nominated for Oscars. He directed Juno up in the. So I completely agree. Like I was not blown away, but I was definitely thoroughly impressed with, because you don't get a ton of big blockbuster movies that are shot the way he shot this, for sure.
Yeah.
It definitely looks
was beautiful.
very nice.
But it has this Herculean task, right? It's the job of this movie is, number one, to introduce new people to Ghostbusters.
Yeah, pass the baton
and
on.
Basically, without making them watch the old version of Ghostbusters, give them beat by beat Ghostbusters,
which is Force Awakens. And if in my theater there was tons of little kids, and I'm like, these kids probably have never seen the first movie. I wonder if they're going to get all these
I don't think this is a good kids movie either. I would be bored as a kid. I'm an adult and I was like going, okay, like, all right, I already know what's going on. I want to be entertained, and they do get there.
It's a little slow to get started. I will say my pacing was like one of my big, it didn't need to be as long as it was. The first movie is like 90 minutes. Or a little over 90 minutes. So much shit happens and it just moves at a better pace. This one took a little bit to get to the good stuff, but it did get there.
I think in the Ghostbusters, all of the main shit happens within the first half hour.
I mean, the first scene, you see a ghost in the fucking library right away.
Right.
And shit's going down, but now they gotta set up what Egon was doing, and why he was there.
There's so much baggage of like Ghostbusters. Like, why is there a fireman's pole in that fucking thing? There's no reason.
No, but he just wanted to recreate the firehouse. That's all. He just wanted a little feel from his firehouse.
Stupid. How do you get back out of there?
That's what I asked. How do you get back out? I was like, oh, that's how you get there. How you get out of that fucking room down there?
Yeah, it was like
stairs.
why? Like there was too many things. It didn't need the Keymaster and Zool in there. Like they could have had you had something that some like unturned stone that we had from the first Ghostbusters, which is the guy.
Listen, I love Gozer the Gozerian coming back. I thought that was fucking. I thought that was fucking great.
I thought it was that was like there was a certain part where like I was like, all right, we've established we have our Ray, which is
the girl
from our
Force Awakens. Yeah.
Force Awakens. They keep saying Phantom Menace. Force Awakens. We have our Rey. We have our Millennium Falcon. We have all the same shit that's just waiting there to get, sitting there. It's the same thing. But I think that this was like, it had moments where it was a real movie. And then there was moments of it where it was bogged down by having to repeat that first movie. So to teach people what Ghostbusters is about. And I think that it's done very well. And I think that it's really, really fun in some spots. And there's some good humor in there. So there was good acting. At least there's good acting. Yeah. It wasn't like shitty acting. And I like that they took it out of New York and they put it in this town, and they had this underground mine where, what's the name of the guy?
Ivo Shandor, which is, it's a callback.
Yeah, it's a callback.
Yeah, he made the building that was made out of the selenium or whatever the fuck.
Yep.
That conducts ghosts.
J.K. Simmons, by the way. Did you catch that? That was J.K.
And he was gone. They should have wasted that character.
Yeah, he was there for like 2 seconds.
I would have made him the bad guy.
It was so funny that he gets like ripped in half. I'm like, holy shit, what the hell?
Yeah, he gets sliced in half by Gozer.
I want to say, I want to jump in real quick here. I agree with mostly everything you guys are saying. I wanted to love this movie.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a bad movie. That's the thing. Like, that's the weird thing about it.
I don't think it's bad.
Like, I think, as I've said, it's shot really well. I like that they tried something different. I like it. It's a new setting. I like some of the characters. I like McKenna Grace as
she was great.
As Phoebe
was great. Oh my god,
podcast
so
was
good.
all right. Like
I love podcasts.
The other two guys, you could give or take. The guy and the girl, I don't really care for them too much.
Yeah.
Some of the action beats and some of the callbacks I enjoyed. It just, for me, and we can talk about the third act. The third act, actually, like, there was a lot of parts in there where as a Ghostbusters fan, I was like, this is exactly what I would want to see on screen.
Right.
But for me, it doesn't coalesce, and maybe it is because it's just that movie was lightning in a bottle, and to try to recreate that in modern times with a new spin, I think there's a ton of love put into this movie. You can clearly see that because it's the guy's son, and I think Ivan Reitman was on set the entire time, and it seems very much like a love letter to Ghostbusters and to the guy that played Harold Ramis. It just, for whatever reason, I think the second act is kind of slow, and some of those, there are almost too many, as you guys have mentioned, repeats of the first film, even though, again, the film isn't the first film. It's totally different setting, totally different actors. So
different vibe and everything.
Just for whatever reason, though, it just doesn't. I wanted to love it, and I just didn't walk out of that theater going, man, I love this movie.
It didn't quite get there, but it gives you what you wanted, which is the OG guys back in the suit, and everyone did cheer.
I don't like the way they went. I just don't like the way they went about it. Like, no, I'm not saying I hate this movie because I don't. I actually had a good time at the theater, and I actually was liking it. I felt it was moving a little slowly, and I think in my instant reaction, which you can get on Patreon. See, look, another
nice plug.
Keep plugging it, you bitches.
I mentioned that, it moved a little slow, and they could have used that time to develop a lot more stuff. Like, I do feel like at the end, the 4 Ghostbusters show up. They slapped on the end right there, and I was like, oh, Annie Potts was in it in the beginning of the movie, and then she just disappears.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute, like, this could be cool. Like, if you had like all the ingredients, but because this movie's supposed to educate people on Ghostbusters and like get them to watch the other movies and understand all of the lore and all that other stuff, it's like saddled with all of this stuff that it can't just be what it wants to be, which is another movie that reunites the cast. And you could have done that. Like you have, first of all, you have the ultimate thing to unite everybody. Fucking Egon's dead.
Yeah.
Right? Show up for a funeral. Show up for whatever reason. Egon's dead. Maybe like they want to get their shit back. Like all these, maybe fucking, there's a reason. There's a catalyst here to get everyone back without having to force it.
That's a good point.
It's such a natural thing, and it doesn't happen. And it's always because, they don't want to, Bill Murray's like, I'm not going to fucking show up for like 2 months for this. I want to be there for a week, and I want to collect my check and get the fuck out of there. So you have that stuff that's in the way, obviously, but you have this great idea. All right. Egon dies. He found something. He has this mission. He's trying to protect the world, blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't have to be Gozer. It could be Shandor, and he's trying to open up another gate to hell or whatever. And whatever, you have all of this stuff there. It's all right there for the taking. But because they have to like, kind of, they're like almost a slave to the first movie. Like it does exactly the same thing that, The Force Awakens has to do now. It's just redo Star Wars. It's a redo.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I think it was done as cool and it's different enough that it's like, it's not in New York. It's not, middle-aged men doing it. So they're not recreating Ghostbusters like in every sense of the word, but they're just so kind of tied to this stuff that like repeating some of these beats, which they didn't have to, that's what weakens the movie. That's the ultimate weakness that ultimately stifles the creativity of what the story could have been. If I were to write this, I would have had Egon die, have everyone show up for the fucking funeral and whatever. And then maybe they're like in town or they leave or whatever, but some, like all of these things start to coalesce. And then if they do come back at the end, it makes sense. It's not just slapped on at the end, where they just show up and they all have fucking proton packs. And I thought like they had these things that they were like these they had like the proton packs in the mountains that were shooting the bad guys from coming up, the ghosts, and I thought they were going to snatch them from there. Right. And like they had all this kind of stuff set up. So it just could have been done better.
Yeah,
but
I agree. Like the movie kind of gets bogged down with, okay, we got to figure out how to write in the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Okay, now we'll do it.
Now they're tiny.
Well, they're tiny.
That felt so forced. Yeah,
and I did kind of enjoy that the marshmallows were killing themselves. I thought that was kind of dark.
Really very disturbing. They love suicide.
Yeah,
they love
it was
being
super
burnt.
disturbing. But it was also one of many things, right? Like you have that. You have Paul Rudd getting chased by the dog again, similar to what's that? Rick Moranis, and Paul Rudd basically becomes Rick Moranis, and then Carrie Coon becomes Sigourney Weaver, and then the kids
the same dress. Like come on,
yeah. So they're like, and then they do the
it gives you a dress.
But they start to they're like they found. Like maybe if they did a couple of those things,
they did all of them.
But they did
all of them.
Yeah, they did. They even did the line where she asks if you're a god, and then he says no. He says yes.
I love that he
time.
said yes.
Right.
He learned, yes, Ray learned his lesson.
Well, and I think that on its own is fine,
great.
but I think part of that, and also for me, the second act drags, and I never really understood why the kids just jumped into chasing the ghosts.
Just go with it.
I never understood why this genius girl had to go to summer school. I don't understand. Were her grades bad? Like what happened?
Well, I think from what I gathered, I think she just enjoys going to school or just wants to learn more.
Oh,
I don't know. I also thought it was like weird. I enjoyed Paul Rudd in the movie, and I feel like he's in the movie, and all of a sudden they're just like, now you're out of the movie.
Yeah, he's a little bit in the movie.
It felt as if that character should have had a bigger part in maybe helping them form the ghost, because he's the only other scientist, right? So he
that knows about the Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
and that's another thing. Like it's like it didn't happen. I don't know. It felt like it was conveniently forgotten by everyone. Like except for Paul Rudd,
right?
Like this woman who doesn't know her dad is like fucking Spengler. Like she just doesn't know and doesn't care, like
that he's
he was a Ghostbuster,
right? And
doesn't be like, hey, by the way, the reason why weird shit is everywhere is because your grandfather was a fucking Ghostbuster, and the reason why there's a fucking Ecto-1 in the fucking garage is because he was a Ghostbuster.
I was confused. No. Was the audience not supposed to know also that this is Spengler's kids? Like, I feel like that you're waiting for them to find out that they're Egon's kids or Egon's family.
Yes.
Well, that they're, it's weird. It's weirdly written because that they're Egon's kids, or that that those are Egon's grandkids, but they don't know that they're Egon's. But they don't know their own last name. It was just kind of clunky.
Yeah.
That they don't know their last name.
What I did love a little bit about, there are some things I love. The music cues were fucking great nostalgia.
Yeah.
I loved it, kind of had its Goonies feel. I felt I got a lot of Goonies vibe. And because of like Data from Goonies, podcast reminded me of Data. Like Data now absolutely would be like podcast. You'd be a little kid recording a podcast.
It did have that Spielbergian kind of kid movie,
right? Yeah.
Feeling.
Well, then there was a line that made me laugh out loud where Paul Rudd's character brings up the Ghostbusters and asks podcast, hey, didn't you know that? And he just immediately quickly goes, I'm ashamed. And I laughed. I laughed out loud at that. I mean, there were some funny lines for sure. Like podcast, I think, had some decent stuff. The thing that the character to me, the two characters that kind of were just a little, I just didn't really understand them, was the older son, and then I believe it's the girl he's going for, Lucky. Is that her name?
Lucky, yeah.
I didn't really understand
Trevor,
their kind of involvement in everything. I felt like their side plot didn't really like coalesce into the movie. They go on to the mountain. First off, like the kids are making fun of him, so I'm thinking, okay, he's when he comes to town, they're making fun of him, like, oh, he's going to be this nerdy kid that gets the girl. But then they all invite him up to the top, and then all of a sudden a ghost just screams out the top of the mountain. And yet, like, he comes back, and he's not really all that concerned about it. and he just is in the car and he picks them up, and then all of a sudden now he's just driving the car.
Yeah, that's how like they were written to they were just written to progress the plot.
Right,
yeah,
like
to do things.
It doesn't see exactly. It doesn't seem like he had a natural progression of wanting to be involved in all of this stuff. He just kind of was written to be involved in all this stuff.
We need this to happen, so that's why you're doing it.
So now you're fixing the car, even though she's
and there's also
detective.
like the arcs are kind of strange, right? So, you have this mom who's like a shitty mom that doesn't pay her rent, and then she doesn't like change at all. She's just still a shitty mom, but now her kids are like busting ghosts.
Well, and Phoebe says, I don't believe in ghosts, and then instantly starts playing chess with the ghost and just believes in ghosts.
Yeah, there's
just
no
automatically.
There's no arc. There's no
was
arc
no,
in
like,
anything.
build up to that.
I would say the only arc that actually kind of works, and I do agree that she starts believing in ghosts right away, is Phoebe at least works for me in the sense that she's a character that had no direction. She didn't know, she was almost too smart for her own good, so she couldn't fit into anything. But then when she finds out, even though it's kind of odd that she doesn't know she's a Spengler, once she finds out she's a Spengler, she's found her calling, right? She realizes, oh, my grandfather was just as smart as me, and he used it to chase ghosts.
Yeah.
This is what I need to be doing. So that arc kind of works. The other characters don't really have an arc.
I mean, they wrote it to make it look like Egon abandoned them, and that was kind of
right.
what
And then it's like at the end, which was actually, I didn't tear up, but when they do the CGI Egon, I'm like,
the Harold Ramis stuff was so good.
I'm like, this is actually like on its own, without the context of the entire movie. If you just showed me that scene and was like, this is in the movie, I'd be like, this is a movie I'm going to love.
I mean, he's helping his granddaughter with the fucking proton pack, and I like that
was
he
the
didn't
coolest
talk.
part, I think, of that whole emotional. It was when she's firing the fucking proton pack, and then she's like the only one that's kind of like how is she like not getting flung away or anything? And you see that it's Egon's hand holding it with her, and I was like, oh, that's fucking that's a beautiful shot right there.
Yeah,
that's filmmaking happening right there. And so that was cool. Like, I think they kind of ruined it by like just having too much Egon after that.
Yeah, he sticks around for a while.
Yeah, he's just hanging out. Like, everybody's chilling, just high fiving each other.
Literally, everyone gets to hug
closure. He got his closure, and then how do you hug a ghost? First of all, but then they get their closure, and
well,
then
if he can hold the gun, right?
Yeah,
you can help her hold the gun. Yeah,
I'll also give credit to. There's not a lot of credit to be given. I think that chase scene is shot very well, where they're in the car.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
And she's like coming out of the I forget what she calls it, the
gunner's seat.
The gunner's seat, and when the way they shot that and the way they're chasing around Muncher, I'm just going, man, this is damn good.
It's thrilling.
It's thrilling, and it's like the way it's shot with the kid. It shouldn't work, but I'm just like, I'm believing that this kid wants to chase this ghost in this goddamn gunner seat, and though it's like there's a lot of like scenes that if you take in a vacuum are really well done. It just, again, for me, didn't coalesce into like this amazing film that I wanted to love.
Yeah, I do think that there is some good filmmaking there. I really do.
Some of those action scenes, I was like gripping my chair and I was like tense. I was like, oh, that's fucking thrilling. So first of all, Muncher is, they did Slimer again. This is one of the repeats.
Right.
I love why the Ecto one has a gunner seat, because the toy in the 80s added a gunner seat and they recreated that and put that in the movie.
Well, you know what? And you know what? I think that works really well because it's not a copy of the first film. They added something to that.
Yeah.
Granted, it's from a toy.
It's from a toy, but it wasn't in a movie.
But it wasn't in the movie, so you
and that's what actually was cool, because that whole new dimension of using the RC car.
Yeah, it was great with the trap. I love that.
Yeah,
putting
that
it on a
Did they do the RC car in the first one? No, right?
No, they had to slide those traps everywhere all the time. They always
They had that. It was a new thing. I would like to have more new things. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, they did the crossing the streams again to get Gozer the Gozerian again. I mean, it didn't work initially, but then you had the big moment. Everybody crosses. I liked how she was uncrossing the streams. That was great.
I don't think you needed Gozer to come back.
And you know what's funny? Gozer's not even a ghost, technically, if you think about it. Like,
it's a woman,
she's not a ghost. It's like a demon.
It's a demon,
like Yeah. It's a genderless demon, it's supposed to be. Okay, let's get into the third act, into the post-credit scene. So Yeah, all the feels in the third act, and it was the Harold Ramis stuff was beautiful.
The third act is basically how much do you love fan service?
Yeah, all of it. They
we're
throw it
giving
all in.
And,
Yes.
and fan service fan service is a good thing at times, but it's just up to your capacity.
Give fans what they want to see, but also don't give them the same exact movie they've already seen. I think that's the thing we've all discussed with like the Force Awakens. It's like, that's exactly what they did. They give fans what they want. Fans wanted the Millennium Falcon. They wanted this. We wanted the Ecto 1. We wanted.
It's a love letter. Yeah.
So, it did that. And fan service it was fun. And a lot of times it put a smile on my face. But sometimes I was like, oh, you couldn't do something different.
Yeah.
You can do that again.
So what happened? They do activate. Egon was building on a giant ghost trap with a bunch of little traps all connected, and it does work and gets.
Yeah, they lure. They have to lure.
The dirt patch, which they call them the dirt farmer.
To the dirt patch to get them in, but they can't, or they didn't have enough firepower until the Ghostbusters actually showed up.
And I mean, these dudes are in their 70s, so I don't know how much you're getting out of them physically, but they could stand around and quick.
I was expecting, to be honest with you, I was expecting some Walking Dead shit.
Oh, like what? Zombies? More
Yeah,
zombies?
because they talked about how like all these dead people that threw themselves into the mine.
Well, there was that one scene in the diner where there's like a burned up diner. Like all the ghosts were released, but it wasn't. They didn't really do a big, a whole scene showing every place infested with ghosts. But they did.
That would have been cool, creepy, like
cool.
But yeah,
the first post-credit scene I kind of loved. It's a complete nod to the original, where in the beginning of that movie, Bill Murray is electroshocking like nerdy dudes and hot-looking girls. He's picking up girls with this ESP test and this shock machine.
Such a different time, huh?
Oh my God, you could get away with that in '84. And then in this one, they reverse it, and you see Dana Barrett. Sigourney Weaver is briefly in the movie. She's got Venkman wired up, and he's nailing all the cards because he's marked the cards, so he knows what the cards are, and she shocks him anyways. That was my question is, any hints about their relationship? Did they ever get together after the movie, or they clearly still are friends?
I always never understood that, because the first movie he's clearly going for her, but then the second movie she had a kid. Well, she had a kid,
right? That's right. And she had the baby in the second movie,
and I'm going.
With who?
With who? Yeah. Is it supposed to be Bill? It's never really established if that's Bill Murray's kid.
They should have made it Venkman's kid should have been part of this. One of the teens, maybe. Like, that would have been... She comes back and says, you have a kid, and I haven't told you for 30 years, and he's all grown up.
Well, they're already doing the kid thing with Egon Spengler.
So that was cute. The second one, a little more substantial, and what's his name gets a lot more to do. Ernie Hudson as Winston Zedmore. It starts with what appears as a deleted scene from the original movie of Egon and Janine talking about there was a special coin. Was it right? He gave her a coin, lucky coin.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, I have another one. And then it cuts to the president, and Winston has, in the time since the 30 years, has built a large company. I don't know what he does. It was kind of vague.
Yeah,
but he's very
big media or big
some kind of conglomerate. Yeah, he's the most successful out of all of them. Ray still has his Ray Occult bookshop, and Venkman went back to academia teaching. And then Winston, he said at one point that there was the firehouse was bought by a Starbucks, but then he shows up. He must have bought it back. He shows up at the abandoned firehouse, and he takes Ecto-1, and Ecto-1 pulls in, and he's going to fix it. And then the camera pans over to their ecto containment unit where they stored all the ghosts, and there's a red blinking light.
That's where all the K-cups are.
Where for the coffee?
Yeah.
Are they setting up another movie? Well, I was confused what is going on.
Yeah, that was first off, I didn't know that there were going to be two post-credit scenes.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah, I don't think a lot of people did.
I stuck around because I knew there's perhaps going to be one. And then I saw the one, and then a bunch of people left. And I was leaving, but I saw some people stay. There was like 5 people that stayed, and I'm going, they got to know something's up. So I just stood at the exit, right where you could like jet out right away, and I just stood there and waited.
Yeah, just wait.
Yeah, and I didn't really understand that second post-credit scene. Are they building to more? Because that blinking light means that there's ghosts in there, right?
Or that something's wrong with the containment unit or something. I don't know. I feel like they wanted to give more to Ernie Hudson, maybe for some reason, because there is that long running joke of how he got sidelined in a lot of the movies, and he was the one that came later. Remember in the original?
Well, he just comes because he needs money. He needs a job.
Yeah, he needs a job.
He doesn't even give a
like,
shit about ghosts.
No, he doesn't know anything about ghosts. He's like, I need a job. But he didn't have. I don't know. He had some things to do. He never got slimed. He got slimed. I don't know.
He does crawl in the second one. He crawls in the river of goo.
Oh, of goo. That's right. So yeah, those are weird post-credit scenes. Okay, who had some fun Easter eggs? There was a lot. Again, we already talked about. There's a bunch more. Like Egon's Twinkie comes back. Did you notice that?
Remember Egon's Twinkie, Egon's Crunch Bar.
The Nestle bar is still in the pocket. It's a 37-year-old half-eaten fucking candy bar.
I have a stupid question that really doesn't matter, but during the movie, I was going, "How is that possible?"
Yeah.
Remember when the kids? Remember all the kids get outfitted in their outfits?
Yeah.
I go, wait, those were all for 40-year-old men. How do they retrofit those outfits?
How do they fit in this?
A 10-year-old?
That's a good question. I didn't think about that. That's definitely a good question. You saw book stacking, remember? From the library, it's like asymmetrical book stacking. That's a sign. You actually see Egon's collections of spores, molds, and fungus. He said that's what he does in the first movie. Bokeem Woodbine did give us a Who You Gonna Call.
Oh yeah, he did say that.
It was kind of it was a little cringy, but they had to throw it in.
That sucked.
And then Ray's Occult Bookshop is actually from Ghostbusters 2. He had that bookshop in Ghostbusters.
That's the only reference to Ghostbusters 2.
That's the only.
It kind of felt like they ignored Ghostbusters 2 and were like, this is just a direct sequel to Ghostbusters.
Yeah, because remember they were doing like birthday parties, the Ghostbusters, like
Ghostbusters 2.
Ghostbusters
2's plot, when you think about it, doesn't make any goddamn sense.
I mean, the Statue of Liberty got up and walked through Manhattan. That was fantastic.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that like they had saved the world in the first one, and then the second one, they're basically like shunned again, and they're doing birthday parties. It's like, no, you guys would have been heroes forever.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the cartoon. First of all, there was 2 real Ghostbusters cartoons. You guys remember this? Do you know this story? There was a cartoon called Ghostbusters that came out before the movie, and it was about a bunch of Ghostbusters, but there was a gorilla on the team. It was a whole different thing. Like somebody just came up with new characters, so that when they had made the cartoon, they had to call it the real Ghostbusters. But that cartoon really honors that first movie the best. Like great stories, great animation. I still think it holds up. You know, it makes Slimer was scary in the movie, and he turns him into a mascot kind of thing.
Well, the Slimer got so popular that they started to rename the cartoon Slimer and the Ghostbusters.
Oh, that's right, because everybody wanted to be Slimer.
And that was the only thing as a child that confused me, is watching the movie and going, Slimer's like barely in this. What the fuck is going on?
No, he blew up. Slimer blew up like Baby Yoda.
It's like the Boba Fett.
Yeah, it's like Baby Yoda. I also remember drawing that logo, the Ghostbusters logo. I would draw that shit all the time in all my notebooks. Like, I just love drawing it. That's another early memory.
You know that you guys keep bringing up Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and that is a good analogy. I mean, this movie's in the same kind of trend as Star Trek, right? That reboot with J.J. Abrams, where they're like quasi rebooting yet also tying into the original. You could even make the comparison to like the new Saved by the Bell series, Cobra Kai. They're obviously different mediums, but where they're trying to do something different yet also honor the original. And there's some things that do it well, and some that don't do it as well. I think this one just kind of falls right in the middle, where it's just they really tried to do it well, but they just, for whatever reason, they didn't hit it fully.
I feel like the reason why Cobra Kai works and this doesn't is because you got Ralph Macchio and Zabka, and if
still in it. Yeah.
And if Pat Morita was still alive, he would be fucking in it too.
Yeah.
And they're all gung ho about this, and they're involved. And I feel like that the cast of Ghostbusters from the first movie like doesn't give a fuck about this movie, and is only in it because Ivan Reitman's son's doing it.
Well, look, Harold Ramis also died. Here's the quick backstory on Ghostbusters 3. They've been trying to make this for a long time. After the second movie, Dan Aykroyd had written a treatment. It was called Ghostbusters 3. In 1999, it was announced Ghostbusters 3 Hellbent, and it was about kind of like a Stranger's thing, like a mirror world where Manhattan is Manhelton, and they go to like the hell version of Manhattan, and they got to fight the devil. And then the thing is, Bill Murray never wanted to be involved in any of these.
Yeah, Bill Murray basically shut down everything.
Yeah, he didn't like Harold Ramis, I don't think.
Well, and he doesn't do sequels. He doesn't like the idea of sequels. He didn't want to do sequels.
There was two things. Yeah, he didn't like sequels, and he had a falling out with Harold Ramis, and they didn't talk for like 20 years or 25 years.
So originally they were going to get Chris Rock, Chris Farley, and David Spade, I believe, to be the new Ghostbusters.
It was at one point. I'm reading it now. Chris Farley, Chris Rock, and Ben Stiller.
Oh, Ben Stiller. Yes, Ben Stiller.
Can you imagine how bad that would have been?
They also considered Jeff Daniels and Jason Alexander in different versions. So they were rewriting this thing for years. It was up, it was down, and then Harold Ramis dies, and then this 2016 thing comes out, and then finally, Jason Reitman decides to do this and honor the first movie. So it has a long way to get made, but
well, the thing too about the first movie, like I can see some of the flaws in just those actors that they're trying to cast. Like the first movie is again funny, but it's not comedians riffing on each other,
right?
And I think that's what would have happened if they would have done a Chris Farley, Chris Rock, Ben Stiller type thing.
Well, that's exactly what happened with the 2016 woman version, isn't it? Isn't it all
But also Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, both comedians from SNL, so it would have followed that theme of getting
Dan
SNL
Aykroyd's character, he's saying funny shit,
right? But straight.
But he's saying it because the character believes all. Like he's just super like.
Earnest,
yeah, that's a good way to put it, earnest. And Bill Murray is super, just dry and like.
Okay, as a kid, who was your favorite Ghostbuster?
As a kid,
yeah,
that's weird. Go ahead.
I don't know. I thought Peter Venkman was funny.
I love Peter Venkman. I always thought he was my favorite because of his quick wit.
But I never understood. As I said, when I was a kid, I was into dudes with muscles. Like
you didn't relate to like I feel like nerdy people would have related to Egon.
But I wasn't nerdy then.
Right.
I was a kid who scratched his balls. Like I wasn't like into nerdiness. I was like into like heroes. I was into like heroes that could kick ass. And I'm like, I could beat these guys up. They're old men. So,
again, that's why the movie should not work.
Right.
That's why it's such a crazy movie because it shouldn't work. It's about a bunch of like misfits that kind of come together out of greed and end up saving the world by accident.
Yeah.
And it's become like, every kid loves Slimer and to have a proton pack on and the Stay Puft, because it has this iconography, right? It's got like this big Stay Puft fucking thing that's cute. It's got this cute ghost. So it's got the cute factor. It's got the toys that it's got the fucking Batmobile. It's got all this shit.
It's got a catchy song that was huge, it had everything.
So it's got all of this
great
other
logo.
It's got a great logo. Absolutely.
Marketable stuff. Totally marketable. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like these old men are not marketable. So when they made the cartoon, they aged them down.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
They made them younger, hipper, all of a sudden Egon's got a fucking blonde hair.
Yeah, he's got white hair. You got in the cartoon.
And a rat tail.
Yeah.
I
love that cartoon. Yeah, Anthony, you didn't have a favorite Ghostbuster growing up?
It's a good question because I started out with the cartoon. And then when I saw the movie, as you guys mentioned, I went, these guys don't look anything like the cartoon.
These are the guys. What have I been watching?
There's 3 white guys and 1 black guy. I guess that's close enough, right?
He doesn't have white hair.
I don't really remember having a favorite character. I just remember the movie as a kid. I just remember kind of like what Ruggs said, where it's just there's so many things that you can latch onto, that whether it be the music, some of the scenes, the iconography, the lines. There's so many things that make you feel good. And there's a scene where they all kind of go to jail, right? Or they're all in the mayor's office.
Yep.
And then they have like their Rocky scene, right? Where they play the music. It's like dun dun, dun dun, and then they're like on the way to like the building that's haunted.
We saw.
Yeah, so they're doing like the whole Rocky thing where they're like doing the music as they're like getting ready to like save
and
the day.
The crowd is rising.
The crowd is with them finally, and they come
you have
out
a crowd cheering them.
Oh, it's so good.
So it's all things that make you, especially as a kid, you're watching that and you're going, this is clearly going to pump you up to do something.
I love the gear. I always loved like the proton packs and the fucking shoot. I don't know why. I just thought they're the coolest things in Ecto-1. I always loved that it was a hearse. Okay, last thing before we rate and rank the movie. Did you guys know after Ray Parker Jr. recorded the Ghostbusters song and released it, shortly after he was then sued by Huey Lewis?
Oh, yeah, it's the same song.
Because he accused of stealing the song I Want a New Drug, specifically the bass line from Huey Lewis in the News, I Want a New Drug. There's a reason why this happened. They gave Ray 4 weeks to write a song last minute, and in the cut he was given for temp music, they used the Huey Lewis song I Want a New Drug. It was in a movie a lot, so it must have seeped in. He kept the same bass line and the melody and just changed the words or something. So that's the reason why Ghostbusters it sounds like I Want a New Drug by Huey Lewis and the News.
I'm listening to the song right now.
Yeah, it definitely it has. Yeah, it's the same song.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's got
song.
It's the same beat. So they must have cut it to like certain parts of the song, and then Ray's like, just make it like this. And that thing goes on to be a hit though. Like it was number 1 for 3 weeks on the Billboard's Top 100 charts.
The Ghostbusters song?
Yes,
it's a great song.
It sold shit ton of fucking records. Okay, let's rate the movie and rank it, I guess, amongst the Ghostbusters. Anthony, go first.
I'm not going to rank it amongst the Ghostbusters. You know why? I haven't seen Ghostbusters 2 in a very long time.
Or 2.
And I haven't seen 2016 at all, so I can't really rank it.
Okay.
That being said, initially when I walked out of the theater, I was very disappointed. I think I'd overhyped myself because I'd read some very, very early reviews that said this is what you want to see as a Ghostbusters fan. And as a big Ghostbusters fan, I was ready for that. I wanted to see something amazing. And there are moments where it is very well done. But coming out of the theater, I was a bit disappointed, and I had it as low as a 5.
Oh.
After thinking about it a little bit more, I'm not going to go a 5 because that means it's just a completely average movie in my opinion. And I think there are some really well done things as we talked about. So I'm going to go with a 6 for this movie.
Okay.
And say that there are some very touching moments, and it does seem like everyone's heart was in the right place to make this movie. They just didn't have the proper, maybe whether it be resources in terms of actors to be on there or the right script to make this a home run.
Okay. Ruggs?
A 6, huh? Well, I think, when I went to go see this movie, I was like, all right, I need to see what capacity the old crew is going to be supporting this film, because I heard that they were all going to be involved. They weren't in the trailers. And I knew that they were going to try and pass the baton to like a new team. Number one, didn't feel like that they supported this movie enough. Like they should have been in it more. They should have all been like raring to go and like, let's do this. Let's figure out the best way to pass the baton. And so that kind of knocks it down. Now, with that said, I think Anthony mentioned that like the resources of the actors, the people were not really kind of rallying around this film as much as they could have. In spite of that, they managed to do things that were actually fun to watch and introduce some ideas that don't really pay off, but are still fun. So I had fun at this movie. I did have it. The ending did bring it, an emotional reaction when I saw, Egon holding that gun, helping his granddaughter out. I think it went on a little too long, but I do think that there was fun to be had, and there was an emotional payoff to seeing. I felt like familiarity of 80s movies, of Spielberg, of all that.
Yeah.
I felt that feeling that I felt when I was watching, like Goonies or something.
Yep.
So, and I felt like, where the fuck is Podcast parents? They don't come get them.
No,
anyway,
that's like the 80s. That's like
exactly.
The 80s. Their parents don't know what's
going on. So I felt like they kind of latched onto that 80s kind of feel.
Yeah.
And so I like that. So I'm going to also give it a 6 as well.
Okay. No, I agree with your guys' takes. I love this franchise, and I did appreciate a lot of the fan service and the nods. And the Harold Ramis thing just got me like I kind of wasn't expecting that, and it made me go, oh, Harold, there's Egon. But yes, it is a little too long. The pace could have been picked up. It is shot beautifully. The cast is good. adequate, doing their job. We got what we wanted, was the OG crew back in the suits for a brief second. I'll give it a 7. It's like you said, it's average. They went for it. It does give me the Goonies feel in moments. But then, if I was upset at The Force Awakens of redoing Star Wars again, I should be upset at this, but I'm kind of not. I don't know.
I feel like that this one makes more sense.
Yeah, I think
Well, because they didn't kill off every character that was like the guy who's dead in the movie is dead because he's actually dead.
Right, correct.
Not because
write that in.
J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy was like, yeah, let's just kill off everybody and like fuck everybody. So I don't think that was happening. I don't think it was meant to like, insult the fans. Like none of this movie wasn't insulting.
Oh,
to
it
the
works,
fans.
but as a love letter, as a hit of nostalgia, it does work.
It's like we're going to take Luke Skywalker and make him fucking a herb. They're like, no, they didn't make anybody a herb. No. They just made them like old guys that are like, we're told for this shit, which is fine. It's understandable.
One more thing for me is just because I thought of it as you guys were talking is it does work as somewhat of a, nice tribute to Harold Ramis and the Ghostbusters franchise. It doesn't completely work if you stand it on its own and not have that stuff in there, right? Like it's really like we're all gushing over the third act because that's what the film is really. Yeah, that's the pillar of the film. Without that, it really is just a well shot film that's kind of boring.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Absolutely, it is the brush of nostalgia at the end that kind of gives it a pass.
Well, the job of this film is to create new lore for the Ghostbusters to continue.
Well, do we want to see, is this the team? Do we want to see these kids continue?
What is the team?
I don't know. There was barely any team. Is Paul Rudd still involved?
That's the problem is the team.
You make another one of these?
Well, the team that they create loses. It's it's the old Ghostbusters that kind of...
they couldn't even do it.
It's the ghost of... It's literally the old Ghostbusters that have to save the day, right? So the new team, if you're passing the baton to the new team... that new team didn't win. There's no mission because they fought Gozer again, right? So if you're going by the chronology of what the movie establishes, they're going to fight Gozer again in 25 years. So there's nothing for the new team to do. And you do these 2 post-credit scenes that focus on the old guys again, with the ending one being a tease for something, but it's back in New York with the old guys.
It's like if Winston starts Ghostbusters Corp.
Yeah, like a company, and he hires people to be and trains them.
Yeah, and you have like Bill Murray, and they're like involved on like the management level, but the people who go out like the police captains, they just sit there and they just say, get this guy, get this ghost, and they'll go get him.
I mean, this, Egon's ghost is guiding them the whole time, and the whole point of the movie is to finish what Egon set out to do in the first movie. So it is kind of that closure of him stopping Gozer again. But yeah, then what? Then it just then it's done. We can do another one.
Yeah, I don't know if you need. I
don't think you need one.
I would leave it. It be, but it's Hollywood, and they probably
should not have killed Shandor. I keep saying that, but then
Shandor
you mentioned that, and I was like, that would have been it would have been different, right? To be, it's this, instead of it being a ghost, it's this like crazy old guy that just preserved himself for all these years to try to bring back ghosts, and he's actually the villain. But it was so weird. You cast this big name actor, J.K. Simmons, and he gets ripped in half by Olivia Wilde.
Like I was thinking, like, okay, this dude is definitely an occultist. Yeah, he's figured out some kind of occult way to keep himself alive. Maybe he's like, undead or whatever he is. That would be a great fucking thing. And maybe we're taking the ghost thing and we're bringing it to a different level now, like bringing it to a 2021 level of ghosts. Like we have ghost movies every fucking week now,
Well, and imagine just J.K. Simmons playing off of those original.
Oh my god,
actors.
That would have been fucking great. I would have loved to see
the dialogue in those scenes, and maybe they just didn't have the money to have all those guys in the same shot. But I can only imagine the riffs that would be going back and forth between Bill Murray and J.K. Simmons.
I don't even know if they were all on the set together. Some of the shots look like somebody was like put in later. They couldn't show up on time. I don't know. I don't feel like they didn't have a lot of time, especially with Bill Murray.
They might have been shooting it during COVID too.
Oh, that too. Yes. Yeah. Was that Olivia Wilde? That wasn't Olivia Wilde.
Yes, it was.
The spirit of Gozer?
She was Gozer.
Oh, she was voiced by somebody else, and then Josh Gad voiced Muncher. But he didn't really talk
That was
much.
Olivia
Just
Wilde
voice.
doing her best. I don't even know who that actress was in the first one. It looked like Sam Bowie. It's a woman.
Yeah. But on IMDb, it says Spirit of Gozer. It says Emma Portner. Doesn't say Olivia Wilde.
That was Olivia Wilde.
All right. I don't know.
Look up Emma Portner. Does she look like Olivia Wilde?
Emma, she does kind of look like, I think it was Emma Portner. I don't think it was Olivia Wilde. I think Olivia Wilde was rumored, and it ended up not being her.
No, I got to look her up now.
It looks so much like Olivia Wilde to me.
Oh, Stella Aykroyd is in it too. Dan's daughter, I guess.
Emma Portner. No, it's not. It was not about Portner.
It does say Olivia Wilde Gozer uncredited at the bottom.
That's definitely Olivia Wilde.
Okay,
Emma Portner does not look like that.
So she, okay.
No
All right, maybe
way.
it was Olivia Wilde. All right, I was wrong.
Or maybe if you had Gozer in there, maybe you add a little more to Gozer.
Just make her stronger or
Well,
something.
they didn't give him the choice. She gives the choice. If you're going to do it, let him do the choice.
Right.
Choose
what destroys you.
Oh, yeah, they didn't do that.
Yeah.
I was waiting for them to do that.
She just kept going, "Are you a god?" That's all she said.
Yeah. It was a choose your own adventure. It was the Bandersnatch. They said, if you said yes, you don't get to have to choose.
I thought of something that could never hurt us. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Ray, what did you do? Oh, it's so good.
And the look on his face, I rewatched that after, and the look on his face is, they've all were all like, "Did you think of anything?" "No, I didn't think of anything." And he's just standing there with like a look of like just such disappointment.
I love that. I love the other Easter egg where Podcast was fighting the little Stay Puft Marshmallow guys in the car, and he comes out all covered in marshmallow, just like they were at the end of the third movie. You had that. Like, they did everything in this movie.
I mean, they have to break Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon out of the dogs,
things, just like that. Yeah,
Rick
just
Moranis and Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, instead he's chasing them out of a Walmart. It's kind of funny. Okay, all right, good stuff. Let's do news from the nation. It's time for news from the nation. It's time for news from the nation.
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
Buddy Steve Lee checking in. He left a comment on the Facebook group, Jock and Her Nation. He says, "Hey, boys, I may have missed it, but did you guys ever review Winter Soldier? I've been going back and listening to the old podcasts because I love them so much, and I couldn't find it. I know we have a lot coming up, but if not, I'd love to hear you, Anthony and Ruggs, chat about it, as it's generally regarded as a top 10, if not a top 5. Also possible it's 1 a.m. I can't sleep and just being a doofus and can't find it. Keep up the good work. Excited for the Hawkeye Spidey stuff on its way. Steve Lee." We did not actually formally review that one.
I don't know if we were podcasting at that time.
We weren't. That movie came out in 2014. We started in 2015. Age of Ultron, I think, was the first Marvel movie we released as it came out. But it's a great movie. It's a great request. Seth Morgan, our buddy Seth Morgan, sweetens the pot a little bit with an incentive. He's like, "You got to give us this when you get a slow week during the winter. This would be so much fun, as it's such a fan favorite. In fact, when you do your Marvel rankings, it's usually in your top 3. Am I wrong?" No, you're not wrong. So everybody would love this. And then he says, "As an incentive, after we get this, I'll sponsor a new cameo intro."
Oh, I'll do it. It's got Frank Grillo in it.
It does have Frank Grillo.
That's reason enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think this is a good request. We might as well do it when something's slow. We'll squeeze in a retro look.
Yeah. I haven't revisited that movie in a while, so.
It's got Scarlett Johansson in my favorite version of the Black Widow.
It's a great, Bucky, you meet Bucky and Winter Soldier, and it's a great movie.
You also have to throw in the fact that this movie was totally unexpected because the Russo brothers were like nothing.
Right.
Everyone was going, "Oh, you got the, what was it movie? The Community guys to do
sitcom. This was their first
to
movie,
do a spy
wasn't it?
thriller?
Yeah.
Well, it was like that, and they had done like, what the fuck was that movie? It's like they did some stupid movie before this. Oh, they did You, Me, and Dupree.
You, Me, and Dupree, which is not
Kate
a big
Hudson,
movie.
Owen Wilson, Matt Dillon.
Yeah, that was a weird comedy.
And then the next movie they do 8 years later is Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Okay, so they took some time off and regrouped, and now they did some great shit.
Well, they were doing Community in between.
Yeah, they were doing Community. No, thanks for the thing. We will find a slot, Steve, to review it. If the people want it, we got to give it to them. Okay, the rest of these comments this is gonna mesh into what are we watching, because there's a lot of shit out there right now. I don't know if you've noticed.
There's so much stuff right now.
And thanks to the people in the group posting new shows, I've been trying to keep up, and I can barely keep up with what everybody's watching and what they want to know about. So let's start with Jose Joel Casares. Says, just finished Hit Monkey on Hulu. Anyone else enjoying the show? Matt Gunter says, I think I have the last one to go. It's pretty cool. Is it a limited series or will there be more seasons? Matt, I don't think there's going to be more seasons.
Lame.
This is one of the last Jeff Loeb Marvel television productions after that whole wing has shut down. Justin Zwerner also really enjoying it. Ruggs, have you caught this at all?
No.
Anthony, you probably have not watched The Hit Monkey.
I have not.
I watched the first episode. I squeezed it in. I was like, let me just get this started. It sets up the whole thing. The show is so fucking violent. It's hilarious. I was enjoying that. My only issue is the lead guy is this badass assassin, right? And he just fucking kills everyone, no remorse, on the spot. He is voiced by one Jason Sudeikis, who was recently risen to fame as Ted Lasso. And it's hard for me to watch an assassin with the voice of Ted Lasso.
That would be weird.
It kind of ruins the effect. He's trying to do a good job and he's trying to be tough. But I'm like, this fucking Ted Lasso, he wouldn't hurt a fly. I don't know. I will
bake you biscuits.
He's going to bake you biscuits. I'll try to watch the rest of it. I did enjoy the first episode and how he shows the monkey how to kill people. It's entertaining. And it's super, super violent. Okay, next one. Jose Ibarra asks, is anyone watching this? He posts the trailer to Arcane on Netflix. Everything about the show is exceptional. Phenomenal animation, story, and voice acting. This is a show that's based on the game League of Legends in that world.
Brought this up on our Discord.
Joe Pope turned me on to this. If you watch the trailer, the animation is fucking beautiful. It is stunning. Chris Williams says, I've been watching this. He says, don't know shit about League of Legends, but I'm enjoying it.
I'm going to binge it.
I watched the first episode of this also. It's very good.
Someone, my friend Ed, shout out to Ed Edsel. He had mentioned that this is something. He was like, "Can you guys review this?" And I didn't even know what it was. I was going, "I don't even know what you're talking about. What is this?"
It takes place in a fantasy realm, and there's a bunch of like delinquent kids doing heists, and it's fantasy. And
it's based on anime.
It's based on the game League of Legends, the esports video game League of Legends that they do huge esports tournaments.
League of Legends is like a very fast paced version of like a
RPG role playing RPG.
Yeah, like Dungeons and Dragons ish. Like you can be like you have magic and all that other stuff, but they're doing it in a more hip way. It's not like this like old school Renaissance-y thing. It's kind of a more futuristic, I guess you could say, kind of magic based game. So Arcane is a kind of offshoot side story that takes place in an adjacent universe or whatever. And it's just really well done. And I can't wait to watch it. I've heard so many people who have watched it who like animation are like, you got to watch it.
The animation is fucking amazing. I didn't know shit about League of Legends either. And it wasn't a problem. I was able to follow it. They do good character development.
I don't think it's meant to be like tied too closely. There's also a Halo fucking show coming out soon.
There is a Halo show coming out soon. That's not out yet. There's enough to watch. Okay, so then the next thing, check out Arcade. I think I'm going to watch the rest of this. The problem is a lot of these stories start to get really similar and blur into each other, and I forget what's happening on what show.
Yeah.
Has that happened to you?
Well, there's a lot of similar shit out there. There really is. You find out that the idea that there's only 7 stories, it's true.
It is true. Okay, next one. Blake Braden has asked, has anyone started the Cowboy Bebop series on Netflix?
I watched 2 episodes.
As a person who has zero history with the original series or lore, I am rather enjoying it. Okay, before I get to other people's comments, you watched 2 episodes, Rux?
Yeah.
I watched like the first 4, and I'm also simultaneously watching the anime. I watched like 8 or 9 episodes of the anime. I'm a little bit more ahead. What are your initial thoughts on this?
It's not the anime, but it's not bad.
It's trying hard to be the anime.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like the anime is like this kind of boutique show where like they do on these like adventures that are like that take the show in different places each episode.
Yeah.
And this is kind of more like they're trying to coalesce it all into one story that kind of wraps throughout the different episodes, like almost like an overarching story.
Right.
So, I don't know. It's fine. I to be honest with you, I think the fight scenes are very lacking, and some of the most staged, not unnatural looking fight scenes that I've ever seen.
It's very stylized. Yeah.
But other than that, it's good. It's fine.
I'm digging it.
Enjoyable.
It looks great. The music is great. I love like the Western slide guitar music, and then like the bebop jazz lounge music. I'm enjoying it so far. And they, Jet and Spike and Faye Valentine, all the characters are there. It's all right. So Jose Ibarra. Not a lot of people have the same opinion. Some people, this anime is beloved. The anime is only 26 episodes. It's just one season.
Yeah, the anime is great.
1998 it came out. And so I want to get through that. Jose Ibarra says, I started watching and will probably finish this weekend. As someone that recently rewatched the anime for the third time, I give it maybe a 6 out of 10. Very disappointing. I really wanted it to be great. Daryl says, I'm more surprised than I thought I would be at how much of Whedon pretty blatantly stole for Firefly.
Oh, absolutely.
Firefly came out early 2000s, right? Yeah, this was before. Mm-hmm. It's very Firefly. Chris Williams also didn't watch the anime, but I'm loving the live action. Really good. And David Zika says, first half was great. Second half, kind of a mess. So I'm still in the first half.
I was kind of psyched that the cowboy show on TV was there where they...
Oh my God, they have the show about fugitives. They did it live action. There's a show.
I'm like, oh, you're going to do this? And they go, oh, they did it. Oh, wow. They did do it. They did a lot of things. Like they got like the ships look great. The little ship like that Spikes flies, the little red guy. He's cool.
Yeah. His personal ship.
Yeah. Like it feels cool. It feels like it just something about the fight scenes that are bad. That's the only thing I don't like. The action scene and the action in the show is like fucking phenomenal. Like it's very visceral in that show. In the anime, it's very visceral. So I feel like it pales in comparison. And of course, I'm not really sure. I only saw Faye in one episode and then she disappeared.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting to see her again to kind of make up my mind about her. I'm not really 100% sold on her either.
Production wise, I love how they're using it's like steampunky. Like there's an old fucking 1980s Macintosh on the ship. There's dials and switches, even though it's supposed to be out in space and futuristic. I love all the old dials and the old screens. And the Fugitive TV show.
I'm happy to watch it though. I am.
It's
I'll
fun.
Watch all of it.
The anime is definitely a lot of fun. That fucking show is so much fun. I love it. I can't wait to get through both of them. Anthony, are you watching anything in particular notable?
You know what? No, I've been a lot of sports, and I started, as I mentioned last week, I started Narcos season 3 Mexico, but I haven't watched an episode since I started the first one.
All right, we can get through that eventually.
Yep.
I'll give you a few years.
God bless.
Maybe somebody wants an Arcane review, huh, Anthony? Maybe we might make you watch the Arcane.
There's a lot to watch.
There's a lot. And speaking of a lot, next week, be here because the day this show posts, Hawkeye episode 1 and 2 is out on Disney+.
We'll be reviewing it.
We will be discussing.
I figure the day after Thanksgiving, I'm going to fucking just binge a lot of this
2 hours of the Hawkeye next week, right here. Ruggs, where can the people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at ReallyRugBoy. Please follow me.
Follow him all the way to the dumpster, and he'll give you a sandwich.
Or just follow me as I ransack Oscar the Grouch's trash can for drugs.
That's right. He's got great drugs. Thanks for listening. Share the show, listeners. Subscribe. Visit the website for the show notes if you want information on anything we talked about. Thanks for listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, me too.
I really don't give a shit.
I fucking loved it.
Jock and Nerd.